Hey guys, so look, I want to pose a question to you. Why do you think that this current administration would be proposing something like tariff rebates? Why would they be doing that? And again, I'm not a political person at all. I think most politicians are terrible, and if anything, I think politics is almost meant to be divisive. I mean, it's kind of by definition a distraction. But why would they be doing that? Okay. Well, you should know by now if you've been paying attention at all to stuff like maybe DTIs or rents to incomes. If you heard me talk any about that, which I feel like I'm a broken record about that. Plus the fact that we've had dual income households for decades, and again, all of these things are observable. Say where you live, and there's just no, unfortunately, source of organic incremental household income moving forward. Well, then it only makes sense why they would be trying to essentially just turn this into a can kicking exercise where it's free chicken nuggets for all. I mean, that's where we are. And I just want to be clear. I mean, I've hit on a lot of these things already, right? I mean, I talked about the dual income households. I showed it very at like a low level for Davidson County all the way back to 1970. Well, we can look anywhere. It doesn't really matter. I mean, you'll see some version of that pretty much all over the place, okay? But understand that there are so many different ways in which you can look at incomes that if you have, looked at those iterations, you would say, okay, well, I understand why you are very adamant about saying that if there's a circumstance, either incomes catch up to the cost of living or vice versa, why it would be the latter. And that is because, all right, you can look at incomes by the type of household, right? I mean, by family or non-family. If you've heard me talk at all, I've been, again, a broken record about this non-family household trend that has been really grabbing household share for a very long time now, where those households are just smaller in size and physical size. So oftentimes, like those households in particular, which are more represented across renters, but also you see it in homeowners too. It's just oftentimes it's like one person living alone. That is a very fragile backdrop. This is why understanding local demographics is very important, okay? But you can also examine, okay, like even subtypes of family households. So like, what does a married couple, what does their household income look like? What about like a female where the spouse isn't present? Maybe their kids are living with them. Could be like a divorced dad, same scenario, right? What if you could actually examine like the makeup of incomes? Like, is it coming from wages and salary? Is it coming from self-employment, Social Security, retirement income? What makes up someone's, say, income? Where does that look like across markets? You can do that too. What if you could like examine maybe the industries which make up something like the unincorporated self-employed individuals? If you want to think about gig work, it would loosely represent that category of worker where they oftentimes they just like don't have employees. And again, they're unincorporated, so it's a very small operation. Well, you can even observe like gross receipts from something like non-employer statistics at a county level across the country. And even something like that, which, from an income standpoint, is still in the minority. It's still, right, it's slowing in terms of growth. So it just, the income data, it goes on and on and on. And if you looked at it, you just go, oh, so this is going to be a problem. And the answer is yes, it is going to be a problem. That's why the administration is behaving the way that they are. They're just not going to come out and say it. They don't want to startle people. So, yeah, maybe at some point I'll show I think some of that data, maybe for a few areas, because I think it would really open up people's eyes to really just what exists out there. That's always really the case if you kind of, well, I mean, you may get one result if you look at something at a high level, but when you start iterating on it and you realize how much really information exists out there, it would be enlightening, to say the least. So that's why I think I wouldn't be surprised if they try and roll out UBI for 60-year mortgages, because there just isn't a real solid opportunity for income growth from here. And that may sound kind of like depressing, but I mean, look, you kind of just need to know one way or the other if that's a real possibility. And at this point, I would put nothing past whatever administration is in office. They're having to have these conversations with people who know what's up, because they do. There's no doubt in my mind that they do. They're not dummies. So anyway, for what it's worth,